Are you ready to take your business to the next level and make the money you want so that you can create the impact you desire? Then you're in the right place. It's possible to run a successful business built around your life. Get ready for a little bit of tough love and a whole lot of strategy to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. If you're ready to get out of your own way and step into the role of CEO, then let's go. I'm Amy Traw, and this is the Motivated CEO Podcast. Today, I am talking about a topic that we don't talk about enough, and that is our subconscious. And our guest, Jenna, today is such an expert in this area because as we were talking before we hit record, you don't know what you don't know. And that's what's buried within our subconscious. Sometimes that can be the one thing really holding us back from achieving the success we desire because we're doing all the things, we're taking all the courses, we're putting into practice all the strategy, but there's something subconsciously blocking us and in our way. So I'm really excited for this conversation today. And with that being said, Jenna, welcome into the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for our conversation.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. But before we dive in, tell us more about yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
So I'm obviously, well, from the accent, I am based in England. So I'm English. I am 37 years old, just had my birthday this week. I'm a mum of twin girls. They are 4, coming up 5. I used to be a teacher and then left teaching after I had my girls. Had a really long, hard infertility journey to get them. And then, went back after maternity leave and I was like, no, there is something more for me. And I kind of just found myself training to be a hypnotherapist. And one thing led to another. And that was 3 years ago. And I have my own hypnotherapy business, which is what it is now. And I help female entrepreneurs who have a business that they are doing to make the world a better place, right? I don't just help people who want to make a quick buck. They have a mission and a purpose, and I help them get out of their own way. And because of the conversation we're about to have, the subconscious only cares about protecting you, keeping you safe. It doesn't care about your dreams and your ambitions. And so, unfortunately, it gets in the way and holds us back. So my mission and my purpose is to help people who want to help others get out of their own way so they can have more impact, more freedom doing it as well. Because we can create massive success, but not from a place of freedom and ease. We can end up burning ourselves out, creating the success and not actually enjoying it or being able to be present with our families and those kind of things. So I help women create the success that they want, but also feeling free, like mentally and emotionally free whilst doing it. So enjoying the journey and not living by the story of I'll be happy when, or I'll make time for myself when.
Yeah, that when then thinking really, really hits home because I worked in a career that no longer served me for far too long. And I wasn't enjoying the journey. And I love how you've made that transition from teaching into really now enjoying the journey, embracing the journey, ups, downs, all of it. How did you know that it was your time to shift from teaching and when your girls were born, just really go after this dream to now be able to help other women create the success that they desire?
So I think it came from when I was really struggling to have my girls. I went to a fertility support group and that really massively helped me. And the lady who ran it, she became a really close friend of mine, but she was a trained therapist, and it really inspired me to want to help people on a deeper level. And when I went into teaching, I thought I was going to be there forever. I was such a keen being teacher, so committed. But after waiting so long to get my girls, I went back into teaching and I was like, no, I am not available for not feeling good enough at school or at home because I can never give my full to it. I didn't want to be there any more than I was. And so I just decided in that moment, I was like, no, I'm not going to put up with this. I want to help people on a deeper level. And so let's go with this. And I found hypnotherapy. And yeah, one thing led to another. So where I am today.
I love that. And really, it all came down to you making that decision that, you know what? No, I'm tired of not feeling good enough, because a lot of us get stuck in that place where we're dipping our toe into one area of business, but we still want the safety and security. And that's truly our brain. That's truly our subconscious, like you said, trying to keep us safe. Can we dive a little bit more into how our subconscious does try and hold us back and keep us safe? And that limits our progress as an entrepreneur.
Yes, that's such a good question. So first thing we need to know is that everything that makes us who we are today is learned, apart from obviously like genetics and personality and everything, but the subconscious um, builds itself through childhood. So everything we experience growing up, we remember, like literally everything is stored subconsciously, and it is stored with an emotion. And during childhood, we subconsciously make decisions about who we are and our place in the world, and we just absorb everything around us, particularly from the ages 0 to 7. Everything around us, even conversations that we're not a part of, if we're overhearing something as a child, that will be recorded subconsciously, and it makes up this entire program of how to live in the world. And on top of that, on top of learning from our caregivers and going through the school system, we are conditioned through messages we receive through society, through the media, through everything. And a lot of that is, you are not good enough. Okay. Or if we just look at the school system, you have to work extremely hard to meet a deadline and take exams. Well, that sets us up to have conditioning that we're running out of time. If we don't achieve something by a certain date, we'll run out of time. So we have a really poor relationship when we come to start a business. We unconsciously have this feeling that, oh, I'm running out of time, when actually consciously and intellectually we know that we're in this for the long game. There is no tip, there's no deadline, but subconsciously that's wired into us because we work to meet an exam deadline, right? And we also hear this messaging growing up that you're not going to amount to anything unless you work really, really hard. So when we want success, we are conditioned that we have to work extremely hard for it. And so, yeah, as an adult, as an entrepreneur, you can be successful. But if you've got the conditioning and the belief system, which most of us have, unless it's reprogrammed and unlearned, we are working from this subconscious programming that, yeah, you can be successful, but you have to work extremely hard and most likely in an unsustainable way to create that success. And so what is going on with our subconscious programming? As I said, it's like a map of who we are and how the world works. So the subconscious has these programs and these beliefs, and if they're not supporting us, we call them limiting beliefs, and it creates our reality. And how it creates our reality is because the subconscious takes in everything around us all of the time, and it filters it through all of our beliefs and everything that is stored. It's comparing the present moment with what we've been through in the past, what our values and beliefs are, and based on that, what is stored subconsciously, it distorts, deletes, and generalizes information before we become consciously aware. And so our conscious experience as an entrepreneur in modern day life is a reflection of, and even our life, right? This is our business, but also that it's about our life too. Our external reality is mirroring, it is a reflection of what is on our subconscious belief system. And the good news is everything can be changed, right? Our brains are neuroplastic. That means if we've got a belief that is not supporting us, that can be rewired, that can be rechanged, that can be changed. And that means that we can change our circumstances. So it doesn't matter how poor you were growing up. If you want to have a business that gives you time, financial and mental and emotional freedom, then that's available to you. But you have to do the work to reprogram everything that's holding you back in order to create that reality.
Yes, this is amazing. And I think a lot of times we don't realize the importance of this. as entrepreneurs. These things are holding us back because we don't even have that awareness. But like you said, it goes back to childhood. It goes back to these patterns that were so deeply ingrained that we don't even know that we learned because they are below the surface. And the point you made too about our schools conditioning us, absolutely. We do learn those behaviors that we're not good enough because we're taught that failure is bad, right? We are
Yeah.
terrified of failing the test, of getting the bad grade, of not being good enough. And I think this like is spot on with where I developed a lot of overachieving tendencies as a child. And then, moving into adulthood in my career. And then now as a business owner, I was not prepared when I became a business owner for the amount of personal development that partners along with it. Because if you don't take the time to address these underlying beliefs, you're in for an uphill battle because you're right. You can change it. You can change your circumstances. You have control. But if there's this narrative running in the back of your mind constantly telling you that you're not good enough, telling you that you have to keep working harder and harder or you're going to fail because that's so deeply ingrained in you, that's going to hold you back. So, as business owners, how can we basically like unlearn these behaviors, become aware of that subconscious so that we can take those steps in order to change it to achieve the success we desire? I'm interrupting this episode to share a free online networking opportunity for female entrepreneurs. Join me for Coffee Talk every Monday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, leveling up and stepping into the role of the CEO of their business. Details can be found in the show notes. I would love to see you there.
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I just want to share that I have been there as well. Like when I left teaching and became a hypnotherapist and started my business, you are so right. It's like the biggest personal development journey ever. You're like, wow. But that was my story, right? I didn't realize this at the time, but I had my girls and they were a dream come true. I waited years to get them, but I found myself wishing that they would nap for a little bit longer so I could get more done, and like looking forward to the evening so I could just do some more in my business. And consciously and intellectually, like it felt absolutely crazy to me because I was doing everything I was doing so that I could be present with them. So there was this stark disconnect between what I consciously wanted and how I was feeling. And luckily for me, I could do something about it. My training was in hypnotherapy. So I was like, whoa, as soon as, I was aware of it. So I didn't put up with that. I recognized that that was not helpful, didn't feel good. And I was like, yeah, I need to change this soon. So I got to work changing it. And that's the thing, like when you recognize that how you're feeling is not this how you want to feel, there is a sign that there is a disconnect between what you consciously want and what the subconscious wants. And this inner work, this unlearning, this reprogramming of the limiting beliefs brings the subconscious on board so that it feels safe for you to feel how you want to feel, think how you want to feel, and show up and take the action in alignment with what you want to achieve. So there is that. But then how do we go about doing that is the $1,000,000 question, because the subconscious doesn't want to change, right? It couldn't give a crap about what you want to achieve. It just wants you to stay alive because our brain is the same as during the caveman days. And if we were seen as different and we were vulnerable to being expelled from the tribe, that meant certain death. So it is we have this innate desire to not stand out from the crowd. And that is obviously very unhelpful if we want to live the entrepreneurial dream. So how do we go about doing it? It starts with radical self-awareness, because without being aware, you can't change something. So what we want to do is to notice, and notice the way you think, notice your patterns of behavior, spot the loops of self-sabotage. And when you notice them, that's obviously not enough. You've got to do something to change it. So how do you do that then is about deciding, I'm basically going to share with you what I teach my clients, and it's a freebie that I'll share at the end. It's called the higher self system. It's how we go about creating what we want to create and feeling the way we want to do, the way we want to feel whilst doing it. So how we do that then is we observe, we notice, we get curious about how and where we are not showing up in alignment with what we want to achieve. And that when you spot that, that gives you a clue to the subconscious work that needs doing, whether it's unlearning something, whether it is realizing that you've probably got this belief that says I'm not good enough. So you question it and you challenge it and you take action. This is the thing. You can have a limiting belief and you can sit with it, but unless you actually start to take action to prove the brain wrong, and not prove the brain wrong, but to change the wiring, basically. It's in the action taking that we start to rewire something. Because the brain is always watching what you're doing, and it's always listening to what you're saying, and it's always listening to your thoughts too. So another tip is to notice your thoughts, because for example, let's say an example in business, you have a discovery call with a dream client, and the dream client's like, yes, I definitely want to work with you, send me the payment link. And then so you do that, you're really excited, you celebrate, and then they don't sign up. They said they were going to sign up that evening and they didn't. And then 3 days passed and you're like, you just telling yourself that you've blown it. You must have said something. They've changed their mind, and you start spiraling and not feeling good enough, and you just can't be present because you're thinking, what's happened? What have I done wrong? Like, you were so excited and it's just all gone down the toilet. Well, that's a story, isn't it? Like, this is what we need to do. We need to notice our thinking and challenge those stories, because that is one version of a million different possibilities. It could be that client has suddenly, their dog is ill and they needed to get rushed to the vets to have an operation or something. Or it could be that they didn't just receive the payment link from you, they received the client agreement and the onboarding form. So they were really excited and they wanted to dedicate like a full hour with with no interruptions to do the payment link, to read the client agreement and to fill out the onboarding form. So they've decided to do that on Friday night. And so that's why you're still waiting. They've not changed their mind, but they are excited and they just haven't got round to it yet. So you've got two options there. The business owner who spirals and lets their thoughts really take them hostage. And when you feel a certain way, that affects how you show up and the actions that you take. And that affects the whole trajectory of your business. And that's one story for one client or one business owner, but then the other business owner who has got their mindset on point and they've done the work to notice the stories, they feel very different in their business because they are not being held hostage to the stories that are going around when they do not need to be going around. So yeah, radical self-awareness and noticing and retelling yourself a different story, one that feels better. And just a third tip, if I may, Amy, is to notice, and this is a really kind of good general tip for personal development on the whole, because every single experience that we have is neutral, right? As humans, we are meaning-making machines. So our subconscious takes on a situation and makes meaning of it based on what we've experienced in the past. So therefore, what we need to know is that anything that happens to us in our business or day-to-day life, but I work with business owners, so let's use a business example. Anything that happens in our business, whether it's in our marketing or with our clients or anything, literally anything that is less than positive or neutral is a sign of something that needs a little bit of mindset and subconscious work. Because if it feels less than positive or neutral, it's your subconscious bringing something to your attention that is a pattern and a program that's not serving you. Otherwise, it would feel neutral. So this is the work that massively helps, because it means that you can stay really grounded, really calm, really neutral in your business. And rather than challenges feeling like an extra rock going in your rucksack and making it harder, and every time a challenge hits you, you lose it, it chips away at your self-trust and your self-confidence. Rather than that, you are able to have the challenges happen because they happen, right? You cannot stop the challenges happening as a business owner. they happen, but you grow and you evolve through them. You become more of a leader. You learn to embody more. Your own work becomes more rich because you have more experience, and you just level up and level up and level up. And that is such a gift when it comes to feeling, when you can feel grounded and neutral and calm that way. It's a game changer, especially if you have a family, because it means you can be present with your family rather than worrying about what might or might not be happening with a client who hasn't messaged you in a few days.
Exactly. It's as simple as that. And I love how you shared your experience at the beginning too, that, when you were raising your kids when they were infants, like, let's just nap a little bit longer so I can get a little bit more work done. So many of us have been there. So many of that have been in that situation. But it's as simple as you said, start by noticing. Just start by noticing where are those disconnects happening and get curious. When you learn to take that step back and observe what those thought trains are that are going through your head, those are the clues. Those are the clues, exactly as you said, that help pique our awareness that something is off. And you may not know what that something is, but that's where we can get into your world and learn more about, okay, I know something's off. I have this awareness. I need to get some help to move through it so that I can live in alignment. Because, just accepting these things as normal, I think we've been almost getting conditioned to think, oh, okay, I'm running a business. I am a mom. So I'm going to be in this season of hustle where I just have to do it. I just have to keep taking massive action. But no, you decided. And that's something, if you're listening to this, make the decision like, no, it does not have to be that way. This life is short. And if things are feeling out of alignment, make the choice to make a change. Get out of your own way because you can live the life that you truly desire. But you first have to become aware. Awareness is totally key. And such great tips and advice and just wisdom you shared with us. This literally has the ability to change your life. If you do this work, if you make it a priority to just start noticing, to get curious, your life will change, your business will change. You can show up as the version of yourself that you've always desired to be. You can be a better mom for your kids. You can be a better business owner. It's all so interconnected. Jenna, thank you so much for sharing such massive value with us. I know you are truly changing lives in your life, in your business. How can we get into your world and learn more about you?
Thank you so much, Amy. First of all, Instagram is my home if you want to kind of come and connect. And I share a lot of value on Instagram, but I recognized well over a year ago that I have so much to say and a minute on stories is not enough. So I started my own podcast. And so that podcast is called Bigger Than You. And it's more of more of what I've shared today. So it's like practical, no fluff, straight talking advice about how to run your business in a way that feels good, right? Alignment is such a big word in my world because it's how we create a life that we absolutely love. Like I wake up excited, whether it's a work day or the weekend, and I am living the dream. And it's just amazing. So I am a real open book on the podcast, and I share like quite a lot of the ins and outs of the things that I go through in my business and how I handle them. And I'm actually opening, I think by the time this podcast goes live, I'm going to have a Bigger Than You weekly coaching hub where I have people, anybody who wants free coaching, we record it and it goes out on the podcast. So yeah, I am Jenna Holloway on Instagram. The lead magnet I talked about earlier called the Higher Self System, that's one of the frameworks that all of my clients, it's like the umbrella that oversees every single thing that I teach my clients. Is how we create the success that we want to create from a place of ease. That's free. That's a free training that you can get in the link in my bio. And yeah, the podcast Bigger Than You, available on all platforms.
Oh my gosh, so amazing. Get into Jenna's world, drop into her DMs, tell her that you heard her share such incredible value on this podcast. as a podcaster, like that means the world to us when we have these conversations, right? We have these conversations and we know that people are downloading it. We can see these numbers coming in, but to really know that we impacted one person, that we impacted you listening to this podcast, that means the world to us. That helps us keep going and keep sharing because we can make a difference. We can make a difference having conversations like this, sharing these valuable resources with each other because let's face it, building a business is a very challenging experience, but it can be one of the most rewarding and fulfilling things ever to step into your purpose. Jenna, thank you so, so much for taking the time out of your schedule to share with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Amy. I've absolutely loved it.
And until next time, mamas, stop dreaming and start taking messy action. You've got this. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.